I showed a video of a woman. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it. Her videos have gone viral, especially as of late. She had a black, or maybe still has, a black foster. She fosters kittens, and it was just like this feral little thing, and she was feeding it a piece of lunch meat, salami or something, and she has to feed it with tongs, and it like grabs the tongs, and it goes. Argh! I mean, you've seen the videos. I showed one of those videos, and this commenter says cats shouldn't be eating raw meat, and that I want to have a conversation about raw meat and pets. Yes, they absolutely should be, and I would come to you with like, what do you think tigers eat? What do you think pumas eat? What do you think bobcats eat? What do you think stray cats eat out in the wild? But I'll come to you with my own personal experience. 11 years ago, we were bringing a new dog into the house. He's the dog that currently lives with us. He's a yellow lab by the name of Clyde. And Renee, my wife, had been reading about raw food diets for a little bit, and she was intrigued by it. And there was somebody that an acquaintance that is no longer an acquaintance of ours, unfortunately, in the next town over that had been feeding her dogs a raw diet for quite some time. And I trusted her opinion, and so I went to her and asked her, about that. My wife actually had me ask her about it, and she gave my wife this book, the Raw Food Diet Bible. And we have fed that dog nothing but raw from the day he walked in the door. So he was raised on kibble, where he was born up until the point in time where he was 8 weeks and we could take him, and then from the day we've had him, he's eaten raw food, and he's the healthiest dog we've ever had. The dogs that woman had were the healthiest dogs we've ever had. And in going through over a decade of raw feeding and reading about it and learning more about it as people who feed raw, it's the best thing you can possibly do for your pets, especially dogs, but cats too. First and foremost, the animals retain more of the food. When you feed a dog or a cat the dry cat food and the dog kibble, it's the sort of the equivalent to you and I eating McDonald's every day. It'll keep you alive, but it's not very healthy for them. And there are different levels of healthy food and whatnot and what have you, but raw food, they retain most of it. They don't, the waste that comes out of my dog's 11 years old. I haven't picked up dog waste in my yard once in 11 years. Tom, your backyard must be filled with shit. And we had 2 labs for several years. No. The amount of nutrients that they retain as opposed to turning it into waste is amazing. And the little bit of waste that they do produce, in a few days, it turns white and it dries up like burnt paper. It goes away. You don't have to pick up dog waste anymore. They drink less water because there's a higher moisture content in their food. The important thing is not to cook it, right? So people always get freaked out about the bones, because when you cook a bone, it'll splinter and it'll get lodged in their throat. But when you give a cat or a dog a raw bone, it shatters like glass. It's what wolves and wild cats eat out in the wild. And it is extraordinarily healthy. And our veterinarian said the same thing that every veterinarian is going to say to you if you go to ask them about feeding a cat raw food, which is, I would highly not recommend it. There's a high probability of salmonella and this and that. No, we've been doing it for 11 years. What we do is we buy a month's worth of raw food. So we feed our dog chicken quarters with the bone in it, the chicken quarters or chicken drummies, ground pork, organ, so kidney and liver, I believe. And then we'll throw in some different things, right? We'll throw in maybe some, literally, if they're on sale, steaks with a bone in it, or whole fish. We had some friends that did some goose hunting. They would cut the wings off and you give the whole wing to the dog. You go fishing down at the river. You put the fish in the freezer for a couple of weeks to kill off any bacteria, and you can give it to them. We buy all of that raw stuff. We bring it home, and then we weigh it out, and we put it into gallon-sized baggies. So 1 gallon-sized baggie might just be a chicken quarter. Another gallon-sized baggie might be a little bit of ground pork and some organ. Another one might be a steak. And when we mix all of those up, we do a month's worth of baggies, and we put it in the deep freezer. When it's time for Clyde to eat, we pull out a baggie. We make sure that we kind of rotate so he's not eating the same thing all the time. Put it down on a towel. He eats it. It gives him the opportunity of kind of like gnawing away at something, sharpen his teeth because it's frozen. Plus, when he gets to the bones, goes outside, uses the bathroom, comes back in, and our veterinarian said, "Don't do it." And now our veterinarian says, one of the healthiest dogs I've ever seen. It works. It is more natural for their body.